Hello and welcome everybody to today's video. Welcome to the Vee Academy. My name is Crumbrion, Professor Crumbrion, if you would. And today, we're going to be taking a look at a wonderful game that we played on Pokemon Trading Card Game Live. And be happy to get your reactions to it. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy this kind of content. If you want to follow me and watch games in real time, check me out on twitch.tv/Crumbrion. For now, let's go check out the game. Thanks for watching.
3, 2, 1, go!
Pokemon's a game that a lot of different people can play a lot of different ways, and you can take one archetype, you can take one deck list archetype, and you can play it a bunch of different ways. In a myriad of ways. That's the beauty of it, right? I mean, we've seen multiple people be very successful with different lists. Tonneson has one list, right? Chow and Davidson ran the same 60. I think Piper ran a different 60, or very similar to Chow's. I'm not sure if it was exactly the same 60, but it seemed very similar. But like, there's another one I think that made like 10th or something like that. That was a different list too, that actually ran Turo's. So like, again, there's a ton of different ways that you can play the same archetype. And it might be minute differences, it might be small changes. But those small changes, oh, they have Prime Catcher. So this is probably Raging Bolt. Or some kind of Terra. Minor differences to how you can run a list, but that doesn't mean that, you know, one list is better than the other, one list is solved more than the other. It's very heavily dependent on meta. Blissey Wall! Blissey Wall. Blissey Wall. It's a Blissey Wall. Screamtail is very good in this matchup. We just need to get there, which we can now with Secret Box. I just have to not fuck it up, because I always fuck up when I play Secret Box and Arven in the same. Because I always think that I have an extra card that I don't have. So, oh, they got rid of their Prime Catcher? Oh no, that hurts. Ouch. Threw away Night Stretcher and Iono. Gotta get multiple chances down. So the key to this one is not leaving a second Iono gone. Yikes. The key to winning this matchup is you have to not leave very many damage counters on board, if any. And you have to just take clean knockouts, and you have to swing big. That's, oh my god, Earthen Vessel. We are like actually going bonkers here right now. So we unfortunately are going to not be able to... Right, so what do we want to do here? We want to get Ultra Ball, and we want to get TM Evo, right? We have one energy in the discard pile. We need to get Buddy PAF in, so we save... Right, we save an energy, we discard the Kirlia, we Night Stretcher the Kirlia here. 1, 2, 3, because I guess taking the Ultra Ball was troll. So we get Research for next turn. We get Buddy PAF for this turn. We have Night Stretcher in hand. Right. Artisan for sure. We have TM Evo still? We do. We take a TM Evo out of the deck. We also have Arven as well for a follow-up turn, so we go 2 of those. I'm gonna start getting monkeys down as well. Oh, one of our monkeys is prized. That's cool. Mimikyu is also good in this matchup as well, by the way. Against Blissey, because it cannot do anything to okay, we want to actually save the second TM Evo just in case here, because we could actually theoretically TM Evo twice here. It's an expensive looking Garde deck. We have no Kirlias. Oh boy. Yeah, we're gonna have to team Evo next turn. It would be expensive IRL for sure. All right, so Kirlia's prized, and we have Kirlia in hand. That's fine though, because we can get Gardevoir out next turn. Unfortunately, we're gonna have to only have one Gardevoir in play, which is slightly a problem. They get Glass Trumpet. They have no energy in the discard pile. Okay, so that's fine. But they can attack with return here. For sure, yeah. Well, no, they need to get two more Blissies out, though. That's fine. What I wouldn't give to get a fucking top deck Gardevoir right now, so we could get rare candy for Gardevoir. How are you doing, Astrea Moon? How you doing? Welcome in. This is a lot of stuff happening right now. So I think they are going to Glass Trumpet here, actually. Just, it's a feeling in my bones right now. Yeah, there it is. They have to have two Blissies to attack with return, though. Or, like, yeah, they have to have two Blissies to attack with return to get an energy. Well, they attached here, so they need all three Blissies to do the happy switch.
United States, Canada, Mexico, Panama, Haiti, Jamaica, Peru, Republic Dominican, Cuba, Caribbean, Greece, El Salvador, Puerto Rico, Colombia, Venezuela.
We unfortunately did not get what we wanted here. Oh, we have two monkeys. All right, so I guess we go for the Drifloon because the Drifloon's the smarter option. We grab Arven. We do not have rare candy anyways, so that's fine. Go Vessel and we go Charm. TM Evo, we Charm the Drifloon. We hold on to Vessel for next turn. We don't put any damage down because that's getting monkeyed back anyways. And we just get Gardevoir out because we don't have any Kirlias. Fine. It's fine. They're just one step closer to having a Blissey board now. So we just have to hit for 300, no big deal. Slowly climbing the ladder, hard regretting you didn't start playing sooner. They saw the Enzora cards and they're giving from previous pass. Yeah, I think the previous battle pass had that. Okay, boss's orders, something. I guess you're going after my Drifloon, I suppose. I would assume here. The only thing that can attack the Blissey, but if they go after the Drifloon, we basically just have to start taking out the Chanseys and the Monkey, more or less, at that point, so. If that's the case. Okay, they're just going after Screamtail. That's fine. Okay. We have two in the discard pile. All right. That being said, we need to probably... we need to attach another Psychic here, though. We're sacking a Monkey. We're going to have one Monkey right now. We're sacking a Monkey because we need to, unfortunately, preserve this life. This one's life. And we have to Iono here. Or no, we would like to Iono, but we have to research, get the energy in the discard pile. All right, that's kind of good, too. All right, so that goes away. I guess it's Arven because we don't need anything else at that point. Right, so we stretcher back Screamtail. We get the knockout on Blissey, and that damage, that's gone right away because there's 5 Psychic in the discard pile, right? Yeah. That's easy 300. This is going to be crazy. I think we leave the 20 on Munki for now. It's not a threat. We also don't need to move it right now, because if we do, we're losing Drifloon instantly to Munkidori. So they're going to counter catch me. And they're going to stick our Gardevoir into the active spot here, because they have boss's orders in hand. We didn't lose that, like we didn't use that. So we're going to have to find a way to get Gardevoir out of the active here. That could get there, actually. Because we have 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, yeah, we have 4 more energy in the deck, so we actually might be able to get there. We might be okay now. Because of that. We didn't get the rare candy, though, which is what I kind of was hoping to get, but... Turos here would be nice, because we could get Gardevoir out. I believe they're just going to boss up Garde and lock it into the active. Okay, that doesn't matter then. That's fine. Alright, so they put down Jamming Tower. That's fine. We send up Ralts because we can't get the second Garde out anyways. That's huge, because now we don't even have to worry about Gardevoir being stranded. That's perfect for me, actually. They can't counter catch it. They have to boss. That's another 2 prizes that we can take the Squawkabilly here. So we just need to find our last 2 prizes, which will be the... did they research that away? There's no way. They researched, right? Weird. Anyway. Yeah, they're going to boss something here, obviously. Screamtail, yeah, shocking. That's fine, though. Like, we keep the Ralts. They take out Screamtail, which we're not worried about here, because we get Screamtail back immediately and take out Squawkabilly. Because they're conscious of that being a win con now, so we just take out Squawk. And we can do that without Charm, so that's an easy 2 prizes. And we have Boss, so we can actually just win the game off of knocking out Ogerpon here. Which works out perfectly. Alright, easy. We want to set up damage with Munki for a future turn here as well. There's Turos. That's pretty solid. Not completely necessary right now, though. We just get the extra psychic energy in there so that we have that. We don't play anything else here, I don't think. Because I don't think there's a good way that they can take 3 prizes on this turn. They don't necessarily... I mean, if they play Briar, you know, hats off, I guess. You got me. If they play Briar and they take a knockout with Teal Mask, then you got me, man. Like, they can't take 3, though. They can take 2, but they can't take 3. We'll do 160 to Squawk. And there's our rare candy. So, they can't do anything to Gardevoir this turn. So we'll see what they do here. Another Teal Mask, that's fine. We just kind of need to get boss's orders now at this point. And that'll win the game. Pikachu, okay. I guess if they have Briar now, they win. I suppose. That's not a Briar, though, so that's fine. I'm okay with that. That's unfortunately not a boss, though. That kind of sucks. But Mew gets us draw next turn, and we can Iono. Hopefully... Okay, that's actually fine. That is actually fine there, so... Alright. So they're setting up for Gravity Mountain to take us out with Pikachu. So we have to put up the Ralts. We can Iono them down to 2. Now we want a Nest Ball to shuffle the deck. That's what we want to do. We'll put down Mimikyu just because we want to thin the deck a little bit here as well. We'll go ahead and put down Mew. Draw a couple cards. We get the counter catcher, which doesn't exactly do anything for us, but we get another energy in the discard pile. And we Iono here. See what we got. We get Gardevoir. That doesn't help me. Okay, so this is going to be an interesting problemo for us. So they're going to have to attack with Munki. Or they have to have boss, I guess. If they have boss, they win, but pretty close. We did everything we could there. We couldn't find bosses. I guess it's prized. If we had bosses, we win the game here. Unfortunate. Mimikyu is going to give us a chance to win. Unless they have boss. They don't. They have Carmine. That's fine. They had Turos and Iono. Interesting. So, best they can do is attack us with Munkidori. And that gives us another chance here to do something. So, we'll see. Which admittedly is not good, but we'll see what we can do. Although if they take out Mimikyu, it does open up a counter catcher play, so that is actually pretty good. Potentially here. Interesting. Well, boss wins us the game, so that's cool. We'll take it. There we go. We didn't see it the whole time. It wasn't prized, but it was at the bottom of the deck, so we found it. We win the game. We also had a chance to find that with restart as well. GG's, very close. I do play in the actual TCG, yes, I do. I work full-time, so I don't exactly have a great way to go to every single regional, but I go to my locals all the time. I go to locals, I play webcam tournaments, all that sort of stuff. So I play in paper too. Yeah, like I want to take a look at this game real quick, because this was actually very close. Closer than I was hoping it was going to be, but this is actually an example of when bosses orders, it pays off in spades in this list, because again, I talked about it way before. People know that the way to stall out Gardevoir generally, and again, this is a generic understanding of the list of what most players in Gardevoir play. Most players do not play bosses orders whatsoever in the list, because you have counter catcher, you have whatchamacallit, Screamtail. So you don't need bosses orders, right? Largely, you don't need bosses orders. This is an instance where bosses orders won us the game for existing in our deck. We found it, we got boss, we won the game. So this is kind of what I was thinking about when Shaymin started coming into the format now, and the big counter to Gardevoir was just don't go ahead of them in prizes, and they can't use their counter catcher, which is exactly what my opponent did. They didn't take an easy knockout on Mimikyu, and so they were setting up for the Munkidori knockout on Mimikyu the following turn, and then whatever I put up, they would knock out after that. So they were setting up a plan ahead of time, because they didn't need to take a knockout there if we didn't get bosses that turn. If we got bosses, we win the game. So pretty standard start for both of these decks, though. We get Screamtail. I always like starting Screamtail in the active, because like if we're going up against a Budew, we have the option to slap for 30, which is always hilarious. But we get the Chansey and the Squawkabilly, so we know they're going up against like Blissey Wall, like Munkidori Blissey, which in itself is a pretty annoying archetype to go into. So they go ahead and get an insane amount of stuff down here. So they go Ogerpon, They whiff on the Pokegear. They squawk and seize. They're looking for Carmine. They also missed out on their Prime Catcher, which is like that was detrimental. Start of the game, they have to go and squawk and seize the Prime Catcher away. Pretty brutal. So they Ultra Ball away an Iono. A lot of disruption they're throwing away. They got to get a Chansey down. They never did get the third Blissey down either. So then they find the Carmine. They discard a second Iono right away, get more cards, and they get a third Chansey down. So they're looking to turbo out their Chanseys as quickly as possible so they can have ideally 3 Blissies on the following turn. We top deck Earthen Vessel, which was an incredible top deck for us because we had the energy in hand to discard. So that gives us an energy in the discard pile, 2 in hand. We can Arven here for Ultra Ball, and we get TM Evolution. The initial thought is I was going to Ultra Ball for something else using the energies, but I thought better of it. I didn't... Admittedly, I didn't deck check. I should have deck checked to see if we had the second TM Evo, because that could have been expendable, but it ended up being extremely important that we had both TM Evos because of one of the Kirlias being prized. So Secret Box gets us a basic energy in the discard pile. We make use of our Night Stretcher so we can throw away the Kirlia here. We get an Ultra Ball back in hand, so for more discards later. We get Buddy PAF to get more Pokemon down. We get the second Team Evo in hand just in case. Research for a follow-up turn, and we get Artisan to start putting down Munkidoris. We have 1 monkey down already. We're putting down a second one. So Buddy PAF grabs us our Ralts. We have a nice board state set up right now. We have attacking in the active slot. We have Screamtail. We have 2 monkeys. We have 2 Ralts. Pretty much the ideal board state that you want to see for a Gardevoir going on your very first opening turn that you're able to do anything. So we Night Stretcher, we guarantee the Kirlia's back in hand. So if we get Iono'd, Kirlia is at least back in the deck. Unfortunately, because I didn't deck check, we get punished here. So TM Evo, we whiff because there's no Kirlias. One of our Kirlias is prized. The absolute worst situation for us. So the following turn, we're going to have to evolve and then TM Evo into Gardevoir. So it's a good thing that we grabbed 2 because I was lazy and didn't deck check and got punished for it on this turn. So they did not, in fact... and do any Iono plays for us because they threw away quite a few Ionos. They research on this turn right away. They get rid of Mew. They lose another Carmine. They lose their boss's orders. So a lot of very important cards that are gone now. Night Stretcher is gone as well. So they draw 7. They needed to get Blissey. They were looking for Blissey. So they find Blissey on that. They go Teal Dance, Earthen Vessel, attached to Munkidori. Because they've attached to Munkidori, we already know they're not able to attack with Blissey this turn unless they get 2 more Blissies down, which is going to be a pretty tall order because they seem to have a hard time finding them right now. So they Earthen Vessel, lots of energy being flung around here. And then they Glass Trumpet to get even more energy down. So they have tons of energy, but they have 1 Blissey. So they get the Blissey, 1 grass energy to the active slot and end their turn because they can't do anything else. So that opens the door for us to do some stuff here. We draw Iono, which is pretty good, but we want to be using Arven this turn for a couple of different reasons. So Artisan's going to finish off our bench here. We get Drifloon, which is going to be able to go out and knock out Blissey in 1 shot if we're able to get the energy in the discard pile, right? So in order to facilitate that, we get Earthen Vessel. We get the Charm for the follow-up turn because we have Research in hand. So if we have something to throw away with Earthen Vessel, grab 2 Psychic, and we can get more energy in the discard pile. We're getting to that range that Drifloon can start attacking with Bravery Charm, and we take out 1 Blissey, which is going to be very big for our board state. So TM Evolution this time actually hits because we evolved to Kirlia. We know we have 2 Gardevoirs. Gardevoir gets evolved. Now we're starting to cook. So a little bit later than we'd like to, but we get the Gardevoir out. We don't have to worry about using an Ultra Ball on this turn. We're able to grab the energy resource and then hope that we don't get Iono'd on this turn. So they grab up boss's orders, which is a bit spooky, right? Because we don't necessarily want anything to be boss this turn. They attack into Screamtail. It's not the best thing, but at least it's another energy in the discard pile. Not really a huge deal. So they go ahead, Teal Mask, yada yada, happy switch. And then they get to return for 180 and draw 2 cards. Screamtail's knocked out. Best case scenario for us, honestly, at this point, because Gardevoir's not taking any damage. Screamtail gets knocked out. They go up 1 prize. We have Countercatcher available if needed, etc. Monkeys put up in the active slot. So now we get to Earthen Vessels. We draw Buddy PAF, and we have nothing more on the bench that we can play, so Buddy PAF becomes expendable at this point. We want to make sure that one of our monkeys is at least getting a Dark energy on it, so we grab Dark, we grab Psychic. Now we can research the Psychic energy. So now we have another Psychic Energy in hand as well. We can Ultra Ball that Psychic Energy down, and now all of a sudden we go from 3 energy in the discard pile to 5. So now Drifloon is swinging for Blissey levels of damage now. We also draw another Research off of that hand. We get 2 Stretchers, which are very important. We get 2 Ultra Balls, which is very important in an Arven. So we have lots of ways to pivot here. We don't need the Arven for the following turn. We have Research, so we can get rid of that. Get the Screamtail into the hand again, put Screamtail on the bench. So just kind of threatening the one prize attackers constantly, get that production line of single prizers going with the Night Stretchers. It's a big reason why I play 4 of Night Stretchers and we don't play Super Rod anymore, because there's a lot of people that are bumping Artisan in favor of Jamming Tower. Jamming Tower is a very popular play into Gardevoir. So I only expect Artisan to survive the early game. I don't expect Artisan to be there late, and I don't feel it's value to have an Artisan in play, to have 2 of them so you can have an Artisan in play later in the game, so you can have an excuse to use Super Rod when you can just play 2 more Night Stretchers. And Night Stretchers will get you the cards right back into your hand. Don't need to worry about having to fish out your Pokemon from your deck after that by using your resources. Those resources, once your bench is full and once your Pokemon are in the discard pile, the Nest Balls, the Buddy Poffins, those become inert and those become targets for discard later on. So that is a much simpler way to approach it than having to worry about preserving your Pokemon search, preserving things because you have a Super Rod. So one could argue it's easier to find them, but it's also just easier just to use a Night Stretcher and get it directly back in your hand right away. Munkidori to the bench. We retreat the Psychic Energy back down. Now all of a sudden Drifloon is hitting for 300 big ones. The problem here is that we know that they have access to boss, because they did not play boss's orders. So we know they have access to boss. If we put all 5 energy on Drifloon, there's 0 in the discard pile. Gardevoir is going to be stuck in the active if they boss it up, but it's a risk we're going to have to take. So we knock out the Blissey, and we get the energy in hand, which actually helps us. Because we run 8 Psychic Energy and we run 2 Dark, we actually had access to, I think, 4 more energies. So we had 5 energy. No, we had 6 energy. We had access to 3 more energies. No, 2 more energies, right? Because we had 5 on the Drifloon, 1 in the hand, and there was 2 more in the deck. So we had access to 2 more energies in the deck on top of this one. So if Gardevoir did get gusted up, there was a chance, because we had research, we could throw this energy away, draw into the other energy, and have a retreat on Gardevoir that turn. It was slim, but the chance was there, so that was very good for us. Our opponent didn't take that path though, which was very fortunate. Didn't have to worry about it. So Glass Trumpet, just infinite energy back onto the bench. They shuffle their deck with Artisan. Teal Dance, they throw down Jamming Tower, which instantly knocks out the Drifloon, and in turn also does me a massive favor, because now they can't just boss up Gardevoir and then instantly lock it in there and take a 2-turn knockout on Gardevoir, because I can't retreat it. So them playing Jamming Tower was a huge boon for us, but it does cut off our ability to use Bravery Charm. But we have Screamtail, which is good, because Screamtail can take a knockout on their benched Squawkabilly for 2 prizes. So we keep our prize map of 2/2/2, because now our last attack has to be on 2 prize Pokemon. With Jamming Tower in play, it's obviously not going to be the Blissey. We have to target one of the 210 HPs or the Pikachu that they eventually put down. So Ralts, we put up Ralts in the active spot because we know that our Rare Candy and our second Kirlia are prized, so we have no access to a second Gardevoir. Ralts becomes expendable. They go ahead and retreat, Palpad the energy. They Palpad one of their bosses back into the deck, and then they boss's orders. They had a boss in hand. They fished one back in with Palpad, but they boss up the Screamtail because they recognized that Screamtail was going to be basically keeping us on that 2 prize path. So very good, keen call out by our opponent here, taking out the Screamtail. Very smart of my opponent there to recognize that threat. So they happy switch, nail Screamtail for 180 damage. That is easily knocked out. Put Munki back into the active slot. So now we have Turos in hand, which is like, it's fine. We don't necessarily need to do anything with Turos right this second. We have Night Stretcher in hand, so we just immediately get Screamtail back. We have energy in hand, so we can attach that to Monkey. Now we're starting to free up energy into the discard pile. Now we have a lot of breathing room in case they try to gust something up to keep it locked in the active slot. Screamtail in the active slot's just going to do 160 to Squawkabilly, take 2 prizes. We finally get the rare candy, so we finally open that up, which opens us up to a second Gardevoir if we need to, but we don't have access to the Gardevoir. It's in the deck. The opponent here gets another couple Pokemon down, so they're revealing their hand now. Their idea here is to play Pikachu. Obviously, this deck is going to be running something like Gravity Mountain as well. So they run Jamming Tower, Gravity Mountain, very likely, to hit Topaz Bolt for one shot on Gardevoir. They're relying on us to leave damage on Gardevoir as an attack. If we have 2 monkeys, we obviously clear all the damage off. That's where Gravity Mountain would come into play. Topaz Bolt would be the 2 prizes they could take easily off of that. So now at this point, we're at 2 prizes remaining. We just have to take out one of the Teal Masks, or we have to take out Pikachu. Either one. They're prime, ready to be taken. We just need boss's orders. And my opponent is very aware of this as well, and they're not going to go ahead and prize this to give me a countercatcher opportunity to have that done. Traditionally, that would be the way that we have to do it. We would have to countercatch, but we have a boss's orders in our list. Unorthodox, but we've put it back in for certain reasons. This situation being one of them. So very keen Iono to 2 here. So they're on 3 prizes. So they get 3 cards. We draw down to 2. They can afford to take a knockout here and go down even prizes. It doesn't open up a countercatcher ability for us here. So we go down to 2 cards. We put up... so Screamtail's knocked out. We put Ralts in the active slot. So Nest Ball is going to get us Mimikyu. I know a lot of people have questioned me. What is Mimikyu doing in this list? Why are you using Mimikyu? What's the point of Mimikyu? Etc, etc, etc. Okay. Here's a reason why. My opponent cannot use any Pokemon to attack Mimikyu. They can't do anything to Mimikyu. So all they can do is take 2 turns to get damage onto Mimikyu with Munkidori, and hopefully, you know, take a knockout here and then knock out something else with Blissey when that gets knocked out on their turn. So we move the 30 damage over to Pikachu, and then we attack for 70 damage. Right? Just start getting damage on the Blissey, why not? Start putting this in range of something. This is to put pressure on my opponent to have to do something now. Because if they don't take the damage off of Blissey, all of a sudden that 300 HP is 200 HP, which is a lot easier to reach with something like Screamtail or Drifloon. Not completely because of the Jamming Tower, but if we get the Tower Bump and we get the Bravery Charm, we can easily take out a Blissey with the amount of damage that we have there. Regardless of where it is on the board. So it becomes a lot easier for us to reach that number if it has existing damage. Obviously, we're kind of baiting in this situation. We're wanting them to take it out. We're wanting them to take out the Mimikyu, or find a way to get a different Pokemon in there to take out Mimikyu so we can try and get boss's orders. So they don't play boss this turn. They play Carmine. They had Iono and they had Turo. So again, if we got a bunch of damage on that Blissey, they would have just Turoed it up, and then they would have evolved another Blissey and done it all over again. So Adrenabrain pushes that damage back over to Mimikyu, which we're just playing monkey tennis at this point. We're just pushing 30 damage back and forth. They happy switch, and then they end their turn. So they're loading up the Pikachu for an attack. It looks like they may have gotten what they wanted off of that Carmine, whether that was boss and they got boss and Gravity Mountain. So we have to win basically this turn. And we end up winning this turn because we top deck boss's orders. Because our hand was so small, we could have played cards down, restarted for 1, 2, or 3, and that may have gotten us boss's orders as well. So not taking a knockout there, we didn't have any extra draw. If we even had Pheasantipity in the deck, it's not in the deck. But if it was, there was no extra draw to take anyways. Mew still showing that it has value because we play a card, we can draw an extra card. We don't need to, obviously. We don't want to BM our opponent. They've been pretty savvy the entire time, so we want to have a straightforward game with them. We're just going to play our out. We're just going to make sure that we take the direct route. We don't do anything extra. We don't BM. So we boss's orders the Ogerpon because we instantly had it, retreat the Mimikyu to bench, load up the Gardevoir, Adrenabrain the 30 damage over, and then knock out the Teal Mask. So Honestly, my opponent played very well into Gardevoir, did exactly what they needed to do, did exactly what they needed to disrupt me, to slow me down, to make sure that I couldn't take those key knockouts when I needed to. They had a bunch of Terra Pokemon that I would not be able to reach with Scream Tail because I can't damage Terra Pokemon on the bench. So my only option would be to knock the stadium, which, to truth be told, we still had Lively Stadium, so Lively Stadium may have gotten there, right? Because the extra damage. If we had Lively Stadium and no Charm, we play Lively Stadium, we bump the Jamming Tower, Drifloon gets 100 HP. We push 30 damage onto Blissey, and then we maximize on Drifloon as much as we possibly can. And Drifloon can hit for that amount of damage to clean up that amount of damage, provided we monkey the correct amount of damage off of Drifloon to get it to 90 HP, or 90 damage, rather. So we move 10 damage off, we get that damage over. So all told, well played by my opponent. Very, very close game. Very lucky top deck at the end of the game for me. I can at least recognize that, but we did end up getting to dig fairly deep into that because this Iono definitely helped push a bunch of cards to more of the top of my deck, and we had a couple of turns of draw to get us there, right? So that Iono definitely helped. I think there was a couple Ionos, right? Because they played one, and then we played one, right? I believe. Yeah, we did. So we went through like probably about 4 or 5 cards to get to that boss's orders. We knew that it was probably in the deck. It should have been in the deck, as I'm pretty sure I saw it when we were going through for other stuff. So we knew it was a matter of time before we drew into it, and we hadn't shuffled. So all of those Ionos pushing the cards from the bottom up to the top, we draw the boss's orders, and that was the end of the game. That's all we needed to win, and we got it. So pretty solid. I mean, Blissey EX is a tough archetype to go into. Drifloon obviously has a great time into it, unless Blissey's running something to increase its HP. I would be looking at like Hero's Cape usually on Blissey is pretty insurmountable, pretty difficult to reach. But if we have Lively Stadium and we have Charm, we can actually hit for 420 damage with Drifloon, which again is something I don't think my opponent is really going to be aware of. So it goes to show you what I was talking about before. Little cards in the deck that make your opponent have to play differently changes the entire way of how they play, right? I don't think my opponent was expecting me to play Mimikyu. I don't think my opponent was expecting me to play Boss's Orders. These two cards combined, like this bought a turn, right? So that we could get to the Boss's Orders victory. We whiffed an attack. Well, we put damage down. We didn't whiff an attack, but we had an attack. We got the damage down. We have to force them to play something a little bit different than they normally would. And then it gives us another turn to get Boss's Orders. So again, this is just an example of what I'm talking about. I understand it's difficult to visualize what a card could do for something, but when you're looking at something from a broad spectrum, right? Look at all of your matchups, right? Does Mimikyu take away from any of your matchups? It doesn't, right? It doesn't take away from going against Dragapult. It doesn't take away from going into anything else, right? It only adds value, and at most, it's a push. At most, it's neutral for being in your list. It's an attacker that it attacks for 2 energy. It's a single prize attacker. It blocks EX Pokemon. At the very worst, you could TM Evo off of it. The next turn, you could knock out like a Budew or something with Ghost Eye, places damage counters, doesn't trigger abilities. Big counters against Gardevoir, right? People are using things like Vengeful Punch in Golden Go. So say you get Golden Go within 40 HP or 50 HP of getting knocked out, and you can attack it with a Drifloon. Well, the Drifloon gets knocked out as well, and then that could be the difference in the game. Mimikyu doesn't trigger Vengeful Punch. You go up, put Mimikyu. Number 1, Golden Go can't damage Mimikyu. Number 2, Mimikyu doesn't trigger Vengeful Punch. So it knocks out Golden Go, and then you get around the Vengeful Punch for free. It's things like that. So it's a lot of little micro situations where Mimikyu is very useful that people don't necessarily think about until the time comes. Ceruledge can't really deal with it. Charizard has a hard time getting around it unless they have Pidgeot. And if you've been proactive on getting rid of their Pidgeys and they don't have Pidgeot, then Charizard has to attack in a straight line or rely on the fact that they have to top deck boss. If they can't, they whiff an attack. That's huge for you. Then it gives you a chance to come back and get a Drifloon out to knock out their Charizard, potentially take game. So again, these types of things are situations that I've analyzed over a long period of time, and I've determined that Mimikyu is a great play into this meta right now because of stuff like Iron Hands, because of stuff like Terra Box. Now with Shaymin, if you have Mimikyu in the active slot and Shaymin on the bench, Terra Box cannot do anything to you. Wellspring Ogerpon can do 0 damage to any Pokemon on the field. Mimikyu has a very difficult time dealing with that. They can certainly retreat lock your Mimikyu, do 0 damage and retreat lock you, and then continually take 70 damage from Ghost Eye every single turn. So again, it's like, it's a lot of micro things, especially like into things like Raging Bolt if they don't have a Gust, or if they have to use Prime Catcher instantly to get around the Mimikyu. You're forcing them to use resources right away that they otherwise wouldn't have had to use. All of that sort of stuff. It's very difficult for people to adapt, but people can adapt. It's not foolproof, obviously. People can adapt. The top players are extremely good at adapting to the game. Extremely good. And I will say that 100%. That's what the difference is between people who can make day 2 and who can make top 32. That's the difference between those. You can make day 2. I'm sure I could go to a regional and make day 2. I'm certain I could. If I could afford the time to go, because I work full time and I work weekends, so I don't always have the free time to go to these. But if I had the time to go, I'm sure I could go, and I'm sure I could make day 2. If I had the focus, if I had enough time to practice and whatever else, sure I could do it. Could I make top 32? I don't know. I think I have enough adaptability that I think I could possibly give myself a good shot at doing it. But I think the top end players have that adaptability in matchups, and the Tord Recklows out there run a bunch of weird stuff in their deck because of that very thing. It catches their opponents off guard, it gives them a competitive edge, and they get to do what they want to do consistently. So that's why I enjoy these things in this deck. It's not because I'm just like willy-nilly throwing things in because it's like, oh, you know, that's funny, that's memey. There's a lot of thought process that goes in behind it, and it's very difficult to like nail down and tell you in like 120 characters or less why a certain card is in there. I mean, this is why Metaphys exist. This is why, you know, masterclasses exist, etc. I give masterclasses every single night on stream when I talk about this stuff. So you guys want to sit in here and listen to me ramble? Be in here and listen to me ramble. Go for it. I'm happy to give out free information because I again, I've talked about this before. If it's your first time here, I love this game. I love playing this game. It's so much fun. I love giving back to this game, and I don't charge for it. I don't charge money for it. You guys being here is entry fee, and listening to me ramble and complain is entry fee enough. So there you go. I thought this was a great game. Good job to my opponent. Well played. Tough result for them. I'm sure they're a little bit salty about the boss at the end of the game, but that's exactly why it's in there.